This year will be the 47th celebration of Earth Day, and while it's gone on for many years, the stakes appear higher this year with a new administration.
There is a tremendous disconnect right now between the rhetoric in Washington about climate change, essentially in denial and moving toward eliminating funding for any programs that try to reduce greenhouse gases, and the reality that is faced out there in many coastal communities of rising tides and increased floods.
The Trump skinny budget released in March would cut the EPA state grant programs by a large margin. It's actually one of the biggest hit budget cuts in the skinny budget.
Democrats and environmentalists fear that with Trump in office, all the progress in the last 8 years towards controlling climate change and environmental protections will be rolled back.
On the occasion of the 47th Earth Day, CQ Roll Call has taken a look at some of the key issues that are facing the environment in the United States today, and is assessing how the new administration in Washington under President Donald Trump is proposing to deal with those issues.
The plan was an ambitious attempt to try and curb carbon dioxide from power plants. States were unhappy with it. More than half of them had signed on to a court case challenging the plan.
Some of the states went to court and became tied up, and it's now on hold in a court case. But President Trump, in his new administration, has gone beyond that and actually issued an order in March that the agencies begin to wind down and eliminate those standards under the Clean Power Plan.
First, today's Energy Independence Action calls for an immediate reevaluation of the so-called Clean Power Plan.
It remains to be seen whether the Clean Power Plan will be completely wiped out, because there is still a court case and environmentalists will plan to sue if it is not implemented by the Trump administration.
One of President Trump's promises was to unleash the oil and gas industry, including quickly permitting pipelines that had stalled under the Obama administration.
We have authorized the construction
One day of the Keystone and Dakota Access Pipeline.
Both of them very controversial projects. Now he's going against environmentalists and Democrats who fear that greenlighting those pipelines will only encourage dirty fossil fuels, and that it will also discourage investment in clean energy programs.
One program that Trump has targeted is this development program that actually does have pretty good bipartisan support on Capitol Hill, so it remains to be seen what will happen with that. As far as fossil fuels in general go, they seem to be in favor with those that are in power.
I appreciate what you guys do. I mean, what I shared upstairs is that the days of our agency declaring war on your industry are over.
It will be an uphill climb for solar, wind, and the wide variety of other alternative fuels.
From the very beginning, farmers and Republican communities have fought against it, and while running for presidency, President Trump singled out that particular regulation as one of his early priorities to get rid of.
Many states and agricultural groups went to court saying this was an intrusion by the federal government on their property rights, and it was an overreach by the federal government.
Recent court decisions have forced this rule, EPA's latest power grab, to come to a screeching halt across the country because of the likelihood that EPA has overstepped its authority.
Under President Trump, under an executive order that he issued early in his administration, the EPA and the Army Corps are being asked to back off and not enforce that rule.
Right now, Republicans and Democrats both agree that the statute is due for some kind of revision, but they want different things. Republicans argue that the statute has been used in a way that oversteps state rights to manage their own wildlife and that hinders economic development. But Democrats, fearing that a mass extinction of the wild's animals and plants in peril could happen anytime soon, driven by climate change, want stronger protections under the regulations. So something is going to happen in Congress. We just don't know what direction it's going to go.
EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt, as Attorney General for Oklahoma, had signed on to numerous court cases trying to challenge, especially under the Clean Air Act, several rules that the Obama administration had put in place. Environmentalists have some concerns that, well, as Attorney General, Scott Pruitt attacked these rules. Now the administration's saying, well, we like clean air, but exactly how far they'll go and how far he'll go in reversing himself and defending in court the very court case that he had signed in as someone who was trying to take down these rules remains to be seen.
The issue is still with us in many other communities, older cities that had lead pipes put in when they were first established and built water systems. Those still need to be replaced, and the costs around the country would be a lot of money, billions of dollars. And somebody needs to set standards on what is a safe level for those kinds of contaminants. It's been EPA's role. Under the new administration in Washington, there is talk about giving states more authority over those issues. There's a big question now under the Trump administration that with an effort to shift responsibilities from Washington to the states and cut down on the EPA's enforcement, whether the states are equipped to be able to set standards for safe drinking water and provide the kinds of infrastructure needs that will clean up the water. Eventually every community has to deal with it because nobody wants to be drinking contaminated water.
If you look to New York, you have Eric Schneiderman, their Attorney General, has filed lawsuits already against the proposed drawbacks of the waters of the U.S. and the Clean Power Plan. There's a whole coalition of almost 13 state attorney generals that are willing to push back against almost everything Trump does on the environment.